I'm sure that it must have come as a big disappointment to President Trump. I think he very much hoped that this rally in Oklahoma would be a great opening shot for his campaign rally for the rest of the year, right?
Yes.
But it turned out to be a big flop because of the size of the crowd. Did you watch the
Yes, I
rally?
did. Yes, I did.
So
Yes,
what was your reaction to that?
Well, before that, I think maybe we should talk a little bit about the process of the selection. You see, they just finished the primary, right? So and supposed to have the convention next month, but because of COVID, that's why they moved to August. So that's why Trump wanted to start the rally. Okay, and it's so interesting that he himself picked a holiday, which is the 19th. Okay, 19th, which was Friday, right?
Yeah.
Well, that happens to be a historical day because that date, way back 99 years ago, was the date that the white people killed a lot of the, there's a massacre, kill of the black. They call that the Juneteenth, June 19th, so they call it Juneteenth. And that area was, they called that the Black Wall Street. Black Wall Street at the time. The richest black were there at that time. Anyway, so it wasn't a good day. So finally, I think it was a Secret Service who was black of President Trump, who said to Trump that June 19th was a very important day for the blacks, so you shouldn't be talking about it. That's why he moved it to Saturday. Okay.
Yeah.
And that was a bad omen number one, right? He missed the date, right?
Okay.
And secondly, like you mentioned before about the TikTok, role of TikTok, right?
And K-pop fans.
K-pop fan, yeah. So
it's a new phenomenon. I mean, role played by TikTok and K-pop fans in American elections.
Right. And it worked to a certain extent because Trump people thought that they were overbooked. Lots of people.
They were expecting as many as 1 million
yes, that's
attendees.
right. And he planned the outdoor speech as well. There was the stage outside of it, but they had to cancel it later on. So things turned bad from the very beginning. I think in Thailand we would say that this is a bad fortune or something like that, something bad happening. So and when he started talking, he felt very bad because it was only like 6,000 people there. He was expecting like 1 million, or even 100,000, right?
And he's someone who is very obsessed with figure, with the size of the clouds, right?
Right. And he wanted that so much. And if you listen to the content of what he was talking, it was more about him than more about the country. For example, I don't understand why he didn't mention a little bit about the George Floyd thing.
Not mention a word.
Not mention a word
Yep.
about George Floyd. And he was playing with the pandemic. He was saying like the flu, like a kung flu, not kung fu, but kung flu. Meaning
Again, blaming China indirectly.
Yeah, and foreign virus, that kind of thing. And he spent, I think, about 10, 15 minutes talking about trying to give excuse on when he walked down the ramp at the West Point, right? And he said that he could do that. He said that the reason that he walked slow because he wore the leather sole shoe and he didn't want it to be slippery. Anyway,
Not very Trump style.
And he showed that he can drink the water with one hand, and then throw the glass, after that. So it was. I think
because he used to be seen as drinking a bottle of water with
the two hands, right. And see, I think he has a very, very soft skin, really, and he needs to correct
I think
that.
his speech was also quite divisive.
Right.
Because
he
kept blending those who joined the Black Lives Matter protests as radical lefts.
Right.
And then accused Joe Biden, his would-be opponent in the presidential election, of being controlled by the radical left.
But I think the key thing is that he played out the coronavirus thing because even though his base, they're still afraid of the virus. And he was the leader who said that, okay, you're supposed to wear the mask and everything. So people are afraid. And that's what's one of the reasons why they show up less. I think that's the thing.
But the timing is not quite good because last week it was about the book by John by Bolton.
Yeah, but Bolton.
Very, very controversial. Do you think he still had that in mind, that perhaps he's not quite happy?
Like I said, it's a bad omen for him right now. Everything turned bad. Everything's bad. And he lost 2 cases in the Supreme Court as well. And the first one that the Supreme Court said that the Constitution protects people of all sexes, includes the transgender as well, which he didn't like that.
Yeah.
And secondly, he lost the thing about the dreamer, which I think you already talked
Yeah,
about.
that's right.
Yeah, right. So I say that this is a bad one for him. Everything turned bad for him, right?
So what will be the next move, do you think? Because he will have to have another rally quite
Next
soon.
Saturday. Saturday. Yeah, he's gonna have it, and I was at where that is. I had it before, but I forgot it. Anyways, the reason that he picked Oklahoma to Tulsa was because 4 years ago, at this state, he won like 62% to 39 to Hillary Clinton. So he thought that was a good place to start. Besides, I would say that this Oklahoma thing is a red state, deep red state, because all the most of the Republicans there, and that's why he chose that.
Okay. Despite all the excuses on the part of the Trump's campaign management, do you think the fact that so few people turned up for his rally yesterday is a sign that support for him is slipping, even in the state that used to be very supportive of him?
Like I said, there's a few reasons for that. Number one, it's a virus, right? Coronavirus. His lawyer asked everybody who attended to sign like an advance contract, say that if you attend the rally and if you get the virus, you cannot sue us.
Oh.
Yeah, they have that too. They have that as well. Okay, everybody has to sign that. That scares some of the people off,
Yes.
because that state also has a high percentage of virus as well. Even though compared to other states, might not be as high, but it's still high, right? And he didn't require everybody to wear the mask. I think they also give the mask for free, but since Trump himself did not wear it, and his base feel that it might offend him to wear one. This is nonsense. Trump could have said that, okay, let's wearing the face mask. And everybody would do it. Everybody would do it.
No,
but he didn't try to do
He
it.
has never been a strong fan of a face mask wearing anyway.
And you already know that, right? That 6 of his staffers already cut.
Even though last week he also mentioned that people who wear masks would like to protest against him.
Yeah, right.
That's the message from him.
No, he also said this, not only him, but the Republicans, conservatives say that by forcing people to wear the mask, that is like the violation of the human right. Because the right to speak. Really, they talk about that as well.
So, but how would you look at this particular event in Tulsa, within the bigger context of the presidential election?
I think that it's not a good start, right? And the thing is that I think it's going to influence some middle Republican to probably not sure whether to go for him for the next election or not. Because some people already came out and said that they are not going to elect Trump. George Bush said that he won't elect Trump. And,
Colin Powell?
Yeah, Colin Powell, and other as well. So this is not good because he needs to have his base firm, and because and some of his assistants already warned him, advised him that he should change, he should tone down about this virus thing and everything. And he said that he wants to be him. He wants to be him. He said, if I change, then it won't be me. They should like me the way I am. That's what he said. And then some of the assistants say that Trump says something like, okay, if I win, I win. If I don't win, then I'll have something else to do. It means that he's not really into it that much, or maybe he knows that his chance not that sure. It's funny. The first time, right? The first time in 2016, right?
Yeah.
He thought that he lost.
Yes.
He didn't prepare to be a
Right.
president, right?
Yes.
And then he won, right? And now for the second time, he wanted to win, but he started to realize that he might not win.
He is prepared for the worst.
Yeah, he prepared for the worst. So I think if you analyze what he said carefully, you see that he did not talk about the prospect of the what he's going to do the next 4 years. Nothing that came out, it's always talking about the same thing, make America great again, that kind of thing. But what are the things that you are going to do the next 4 years that people want to know?
I think he spent most of his time in his speech blaming the Democrats.
Yes, that's
for
right.
all the
Blaming other,
problems.
blaming China for the
China,
virus,
yeah,
blaming Joe Biden for, this kind of thing, right?
But among new generation, it seems that young people do not buy his idea at all.
You're right. I think this is a change, and this is a time that I think the teen, the first time that they are going to vote, right? Because they had 19 that they can vote in the U.S. And I think that the teens now is very furious about the human rights thing, and Trump did not try to correct the problem. Okay, he didn't even try to mention about the problem. So this make it expand a lot further, not only to the U.S. but to the U.K. as well, which is also a racist there as well.
But do you think Trump has time to correct himself because this is June?
Yeah.
The election will be in November. He
Right.
still has time.
Yes, if he will change. I believe that Joe Biden is not a strong candidate, all right? So if Trump had been Trump before, the same old Trump, I don't think Biden can beat him. But I think Trump right now, he's going to be beaten by himself.
That's right.
Meaning he is destructive right now. He just... he's got upset for everything that's turned out to be wrong, and that's going to be in his mind all the time, And he is out on a Twitter, and then people come in Twitter and comment negative thing, and he doesn't like that. So I think he take little thing, into consideration. He didn't have to come out and spend 20 minutes try to give an excuse on when he walked down the ramp. And he did that, right?
No, he's so sensitive about how he is seen,
right.
how he is respected or not. So,
and I think because of this thing in this month, a little bit this month, I think some prominent Republicans are having a second thought about re-elect him. Okay, I read one senator who said that he might not elect him. So this is something that's shocking, and he was upset of the Supreme Court judges, and he said that I have a feeling that the Supreme Court doesn't like me, which is bad. How do you say that? How do you say it like that?
But what if Republican doesn't want to support him? Can they fight for another candidate to fight?
I don't
with
think so.
Trump?
No, that's too late already.
At this stage,
At this stage, that's too late already. But the point is that if he, like you said, we can never guess right about Trump, right?
Right.
If he can come back to himself again, and adjust it a little bit and believe his advisor, maybe might turn around. And another thing, don't forget, he expects that the vaccine will come out before the election. And I think he's seeing that is going to take care of the virus and the economy.
That's the bill that will save
That
him.
is,
But overall, does American media too harsh on him? Because mostly the report pay attention to the empty seat during the rally. Not very much on content.
If you look at CNN, yes, probably they like that, right? But even the Fox News also report that he has a disadvantage in terms of the polling right now. And he, instead of reminding him that, hey, I need to do something, he was mad at Fox News. He said that, why didn't you bring this nonsense statistic out? So I think if Trump's going along this way, he's going to have a hard time with it. Okay, but we'll never know. We will never know. The only problem would be this, I think Joe Biden is not a very strong candidate, and he himself have an amnesia. Sometimes when he speaks, he forgets things that he
So
said.
if
Right?
he is going to win, he will do so by default.
Right. And I would suggest to him that now don't try to say so much thing. He need to follow the speech, the written speech and things like that, because I think he has a problem, because I think he has a cancer in his brain, and that might affect his thinking, his process of thinking, and sometimes he just says something that unbelievable.
The only time that to me, I also listened to his whole speech, and to me, the only time that Trump was wielding some carrot was when he talked about how the economy will pick up next year, right?
Yeah.
Without any evidence, without any
Right.
concrete evidence to support his claim, right?
Right.
Because of course, next year, because he need people to elect him this year.
Right, right. And but anyway, I would say that for the better of the world, I think Biden is still better because at least he still be a diplomat and he won't go around and pick a fight with every countries in the world, and
That's
should
better
be
for countries and region as well, right?
Well, yeah, in a way, I would say for every country because Trump right now. Maybe he's very nationalistic. He just thinks that America is the exception, and he doesn't want to be friends with Europe, West Germany, even the UK, and he just started to fight with everybody, and that gives time for China to try to come up strong, and that's why I think China and Russia would very much like Trump to be re-elected. And he didn't.
That's why I read in the article today with a headline which say that China has a man in Washington D.C. His name is Trump.
So maybe even Kim Jong Un, North Korea, he still wants Trump to be the next prime minister, the next president, because he thinks he still can handle Trump, because you handle Trump, you give him a few nice things and then he'll be nice to you. Yeah.
So far in the 3.5 years under President Trump, what do you think of the position of America in the world?
Economically, I think the United States is still strong in that sense, okay, because of the foundation, the strong foundation and everything. But politically, I think the United States is divided from the world, and that's going to be not good, because I think China is quietly coming up, okay, and in terms of geopolitical politics, I think Americans going to lose some interest, some influence in the world, because when you become stingy, people you suppose if you're a big brother, you're supposed to be generous a little bit. Now, if you go to everybody and you say that if you don't pay your due, I'm going to take this back, I'm going to take it back. How could you be the boss? It is something like that, because if you want to be the leader of the free world, the reason that you had been the leader of the free world because you were generous. You don't say that, well, I pay this much to the UN and you should be able to pay that much. You don't say that. And that's in return, you get privileges for a lot of things that you do. For example, like the dollars. Now, if he's doing like this, I'm not an economist, but I think the US might be in trouble because, now they keep printing the dollar with no gold to back up, right? And the reason that they can use it right now is because people still give credit to it.
That's true. Yeah.
And China has the reserve of this.
The biggest
reserve
in the world
of the world. So, what about if every country at the same time starts saying that we don't trust you anymore? If you're going to print new dollars, you need to have gold to back up.
And Trump has done a lot to undermine the confidence in the U.S. treasury.
Right. So I think economically, it is scary to see what's going to happen next.
Okay, let's see how he will change his tactic in the next rally.
Yeah.
Right.
Whether the approach will be the same, or he want to be more aggressive or less confrontational.
Right, but I think Trump will be Trump, so he's going to be the same, right? And I just hope that with this protests going on, they should be able to change it, because what Trump did was that. Oh, by the way, he lost that the Dreamers, right?
Dreamers.
But that was only part of it, because the judgment, the Supreme Court judgment didn't say that he could do it by the executive order, which means that he still come back and do with the executive order, because can repeal that. And that's going to give the Dreamers, a lot of Dreamers, that's about 700,000, to go to the election booth and try to
make sure that he doesn't
come back. Right. So everything point to people who try to go against him. So I don't know. I used to think that Trump would be coming back with no problem, but we have to see right now. We have to see how if he, like you said, would he come back? Would he change? Would he believe more in some of his advisor or not? Because so far right now, I don't think he believes any advice that go against his mind, and that's a problem.